Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supreme human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasdev we offer. Srimvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanaha, Hridyantastohya Bhadrani, Vidunoti Suhritsatam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul of everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So now we have a reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, very pure devotional service. And it's text 23. Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum Na Jatu Matyo Bila Beta Yas Tu Na Jatu Martyo Bila Beta Yastu Shri Vishnu Padya Manujas Tulasyaha Shri Vishnu Padya Manujas Tulasyaha Shwasan Chavo Yas Tu Na Veda Ganham Shwasan Chavo Yas Tu Na Veda Ganham Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum Najatu Martyo Bila Beta Yastu Shri Vishnu Padya Manujas Tulasya Shwasan Chavo Yastu Naveda Ganham Jivan Chavo Bhagavatangri Renum Najatu Martyo Bila Beta Yastu Shri Vishnu Padya Manujas Tulasya Shwasan Chavo Yastu Naveda Ganham Is that 2 or 3? Ready? Want to go ahead and chant that?
Jivan Chavo Bhagavatam Vivenu Najatu Macho Vilaveta Jastu Shri Vishnu Pacha Manujas Talasha Vasan Chavo Yastu Naveda Gandham Jivan Chavo Bhagavatam Vetajastu
Shri Vishnu Bhagya Manujastu Lasya
Shri Vishnu Padja Manujastalasya
Swasanjavo Yastu Na Veda Granakam
Svasam Shavo Yastam Vedakantam
Divam Shavo Bhagavatam
Divam Shavo Bhagavatam Virenu Najakarcho Vilavekajastu
Shri Vishnu Padya Manujastalasya
Shri Vishnu Bhagya
Manujastalasya
Samjavayastu Navedakantam
Swasanjavo
Divam Shavo Bhagavatam Virenu Najatu Macho Vilavekajastu Shri Vishnu Padja Manujastalasya Svasam Shavo Yastam Vedakantam
Okay. Read me names. Jivan,
Divam
well living.
While living
Shava,
Java
a dead body.
A dead body
Bhagavata Angrirenum,
Bhagavatam Virenu
the dust of the feet of a pure devotee.
The dust of the feet of a pure devotee
Na,
Na
never.
Never
Jatu,
Jatu
at any time.
At any time
Martyaha,
Marjaha
mortal.
Mortal
Avilabeta,
Avilaveta
particularly received.
Particularly received
Yaha,
A
a person.
person
Tu,
Two
but.
Well
Shri,
Shri
with opulence.
with opulence
Vishnupadyaha,
Vishnu Jana
of the lotus feet of Vishnu.
Of the lotus feet of Vishnu
Manujaha,
Manujaha
a descendant of Manu.
A descendant of Manu
Parentheses, a man.
A man
Tulasyaha,
Vivasya
leaves of the Tulsi tree.
Leaves of the Tulsi tree
Shwasan,
Swasan
while breathing.
While
Shavaha,
Java
still a dead body.
Still a dead body
Ya,
Ya
who,
Who
tu,
Two
but.
But
Na Veda,
Na Veda
never experienced.
Never experienced
Gandham,
Gandham
the aroma.
the aroma.
It's interesting that Na Veda means never experienced. Veda means knowledge. So it's an interesting connection. Okay, translation purport by His Divine Grace. The person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. And the person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. Please repeat. The person who has not at any time
The person who has not at any time
received the dust of the feet
received the dust of the feet
of the Lord's pure devotee
of the Lord's pure devotee
upon his head
upon his head
is certainly a dead body.
is certainly a dead body.
And the person who has never experienced
And the person who has never experienced
the aroma of the tulsi leaves
the aroma of the tulsi leaves
from the lotus feet of the Lord
from the lotus feet of the Lord
is also a dead body,
is also a dead body,
although breathing.
although breathing.
Report. According to sticky. Just according, how's that? To Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the breathing dead body is a ghost. When a man dies, he is called dead. But when he again appears in a subtle form, not visible to our present vision, and yet acts, such a dead body is called a ghost. Ghosts are always very bad elements. always creating a fearful situation for others. Similarly, the ghost-like non-devotees who have no respect for the pure devotees, nor for the Vishnu deity in the temples, create a fearful situation for the devotees at all times. The Lord never accepts any offering by such impure ghosts. There's a common saying that one should first love the dog of the beloved before one shows any loving sentiments for the beloved. The stage of pure devotion is attained by sincerely serving a pure devotee of the Lord. The first condition of devotional service to the Lord is therefore to be a servant of a pure devotee. And this condition is fulfilled by the statement, quote, reception of the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee who has also served another pure devotee, unquote. That is the way of pure disciplic succession or devotional parampara. Maharaj Rahugana inquired from the great Saint Jagabharata as to how he had attained such a liberated stage of a Paramahamsa. And in answer, the great saint replied as follows, Bhagavatam 5:12-12. Rahu ganaitat tapasana yati nachejaya nirvapanat vihanva nachandasanaiva jalagni suryaya vina mahatpada rajobhishekam. O King Rahugana, with the perfectional stage of devotional service, or the Paramahamsa stage of life, cannot be attained unless one is blessed by the dust of the feet of great devotees. It is never attained by tapasya, austerity, the Vedic worshipping process, acceptance of the renounced order of life, the discharge of the duties of household life, the chanting of the Vedic hymns, or the performance of penances in the hot sun, within cold water, or before the blazing fire. In other words, Lord Sri Krishna is the property of his pure, unconditional devotees, and as such, only the devotees can deliver Krishna to another devotee. Krishna is never obtainable directly. Lord Chaitanya therefore designated himself as Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayor Dasa Dasa Nudasa, or the most obedient servant of the servants of the Lord, who maintains the Gopi damsels at Vrindavan. A pure devotee therefore never approaches the Lord directly, but tries to please the servant of the Lord's servants, and thus the Lord becomes pleased. And only then can the devotee relish the taste of the tulsi leaf stuck to his lotus feet. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is never to be found by becoming a great scholar of the Vedic literatures, but he is very easily approachable through his pure devotee. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the Supreme Whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotee. And once she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. The conclusion is, therefore, that one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly, and by one's doing so, by the goodwill of the devotee, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. Distracted myself. Huh? Totally lost number. Right, go ahead.
Start right again.
Om Jnana Tirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha. Don't fix your microphone in the middle of a verse. Okay. So, this is all about the whole thing. Not half of the verse talks about the tulsi leaves. The whole verse really, according to Prabhupada's purport, showing the meaning of it to us, is all about the dust of the feet of the pure devotee. There's a lot of ways to get the dust of the feet. In the beginning, when Prabhupada was walking on the planet, the devotees used to sometimes run behind him and try to get the dust from his footprints and put it on their heads. But, that's good, but, obviously everybody can't do that. And obviously we can't do that now. So there are many ways. So of course, we can touch his lotus feet and the murti of his lotus feet, footprints. And we can touch his lotus feet and the murti. but mainly you get the dust of the lotus feet on your head by bowing down to the ground behind where he walked or before him. And that's the main way. And that also becomes truthful and not just an empty act. Becomes truthful by following instructions, by following in his footsteps and following his instructions and hearing from him. So we all have all these instructions. We have the books and we have letters and everything we have access to. And the senior devotees, we have access to different people helping us to know the instructions and so on. So we have all these ways that we can get the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee Srila Prabhupada, who walked among us, I wasn't here, but on the planet, and distributed this knowledge. And Krishna tells Arjuna, even though Krishna was sitting there, Arjuna had already surrendered to Krishna. Still, Krishna, acting as spiritual master to Arjuna, still recommended to get transcendental knowledge, try to get transcendental knowledge from a self-realized soul. So, even though Krishna is giving this knowledge, he made a point to stress this need. You can't just get it independently. And everybody is not Arjuna sitting in the chariot with Krishna. So the point is we have to get it from someone who has it. We want transcendental knowledge, we have to get it from a self-realized soul. Or from someone who's heard from it, because that's the next verse in the Bhagavatam. Okay, verse 434 is the famous verse. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So then, the next one, having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are a part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. So, we also can know by hearing. So now we have the situation. We have disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Western people didn't grow up in this world trying to catch up. They aren't guaranteed to be pure self-realized soul. There's no rule that they have to be in order to initiate. They have to be proper followers and they have to properly hear and repeat and be proper followers. And they have to be advanced. They have to be able to take the responsibility, of course. But there's no spoken rule that they have to be self-realized souls in order to initiate. They have to be able to repeat, and that was Prabhupada's claim, that his qualification was that he repeated what his guru said. So still by hearing we can see. So but you have to get it from someone. Ultimately, it has to come from someone who is self-realized. Same with devotional service. If we want devotional service, if we want love for God, then we have to get it from someone who has it. If we want Krishna, we got to get Krishna from someone who has Krishna. And the only way to possess Krishna is to be a pure devotee of Krishna. So we run after, there's a song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Saraswati Vaishnava Thakur, and the last verse is about how you have Krishna. Please, you can give me Krishna. So because his pure devotee spiritual master has Krishna, so he's running after him. Please give me Krishna. So we get Krishna, we get bhakti for Krishna from someone who has it. And so that's to receive it from that person, you have to please them. Let's see what it says in this verse. By the goodwill of the devotee. And how do you get the goodwill of that devotee? And of course the devotee has goodwill toward everybody. Prabhupada wanted to save everybody. But he can't give that mercy to someone who doesn't invoke that goodwill by loving service and by obedience and respect. So, and trying to follow. So that is how you please the pure devotee and make the pure devotee inclined to give you what that pure devotee has, be it self-realized knowledge, Krishna, devotion to Krishna, like that. That's how you please. Just in the verse, try to not sound so terrible about quoting verses. Just try to get some knowledge by approaching a pure devotee. Render him service and humble service, and listen submissively, inquire submissively. So this is the qualification, and not just all of a sudden you see wanting to turn it on, and all of a sudden but you live your life that way, and then He'll give you directly and indirectly, and the Lord in your heart will be pleased and give you knowledge as well, because the Lord in your heart shines the lamp of knowledge on everything. So even if we hear something and then we don't know how it applies to everything, but the Lord in our heart shines that lamp. He won't usually shine a lamp beyond what we've heard, because usually the rule is we have to submissively hear from someone who's qualified, and in that way we can hear from them. So what we've heard from them, the Lord will shine that lamp of knowledge in our heart and make it realize knowledge, and connect it to whatever that degree of knowledge is able to be connected to make it real. So this is the process, how it works. So without the pure devotee, one cannot. So what is it? If one does not have the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee, it's like being dead. And here he compares a dead body to a ghost. And the ghost is a kind of awkward comparison in my mind, because a ghost is one who's left the body, it's not the dead body. The ghost is the soul that left. That, of course, the subtle body is going along. But the idea is that it's as good as a ghost. So the people who have not and aren't going to receive the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee, they do give trouble to the devotees. So, and it's tricky. We try to preach to them. We have to have ways of getting past that tendency and of theirs. We have to have ways that we give them prasadam. We act really nice to them. We give them a little bit of something. We teach them how to say the holy names once or something. And we give them a book and get them to give some donation. We try to get past that negative attitude that's guaranteed to be there in some way, shape, or form in a person who has not received the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. So we try to help people, but they are capable of giving us troubles. So just like a ghost. A ghost is just a soul like everybody else, but a ghost is someone who didn't get to go someplace better, so the ghost is someone in that same position, someone who has not received the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. Therefore, it's a bad element, because that ghost is hungry for some reality, some bodily senses, and so will get trouble to those who have a body with bodily senses. So a ghost is a bad element for that way. So it's this envy, and the point of in the person of a person in their body walking around but not knowing anything about the Lord, and a person who is in a ghostly body, it's envy no matter what. So we have to try to get past that and give them something, but they have to, I guess we give them a molecule of that dust. We try to give them a molecule of that dust and see if they'll accept it, and see if they'll come back for more. So this is, so a breathing dead body is a ghost. So ghosts are always a bad element. Similarly, the ghost-like non-devotees who have no respect for the pure devotees, nor for the Vishnu deity in the temples, create a fearful situation for the devotees at all times. Well, they do, because we have to be really careful of them. Will they pass laws against what we do? Will they come and do some disrespect? Will they come and do some harm, harass, or something like that? So it's fearful. The Lord never accepts any offering from such impure ghosts. There are those who think they have. Just like this. How's this? They think.
Don't do that.
Two hands, all times 2 hands. They think that they have a relationship with God. They think they're going to be God, or they think that they are God, or one with God, or one with nature, and there is no God, or they have their idea of God from their own tradition, but they have never really surrendered to the pure devotee, not following the instructions of the pure devotee. Is right here. This is the problem. And that moves too. I have to have good posture. It's right here. I don't want to move it. So Lord Jesus Christ came. He's said by Prabhupada to be a Shakti Vaishnava. He did not come in a bona fide sampradaya that we know of. That we don't know of any contact he had with the bona fide sampradaya. He did teach religious principles, faith in a personal God, and a humble spiritual way of walking through life. He did teach that. Love one another, love God, like that. Basic stuff, he did teach that. And so he had that, at least. I don't know what he had inside of him, but he had that much to teach. So people who actually follow him, who actually follow his example and his teachings, can get that much from him. The problem is nowadays there's some evidence. Satyaraj wrote it in a book about a vegetarian spiritual diet, food for the spirit, has a different name now. But there's some evidence, some quote where Jesus said, in some gospel that's not in the Bible, he picked up a melon and said, see, this kind of thing is food for man. So he was teaching vegetarianism. The fish thing might be a mistranslation or misunderstanding somehow. He wrote about that at length. But so anyways, nowadays, and the excuse is, thou shalt not murder. Murder only counts for human beings, so therefore you can kill all the animals, they can suffer and everything. So that blocks, and so therefore, if that's all they understand about anything, they could be like ghosts in a dead body or something. So they are troublesome to the devotees. And they don't have to be. I mean, the information is there. But if you really follow, if you really surrender, then proportionally to the knowledge that you're given, proportionally to the person's purity that you're learning from, you receive. Someone like Prabhupada has everything. There's everything. And he wrote like all these letters to everybody following him in the form of his books. Letters and letters and letters and letters. And not to mention individual letters he wrote, and he spoke, and he gave personal instructions to be passed on like that. So he has given us everything, and he said so, I've given you everything. So if we follow him, we have the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee, and anyone who follows him purely, there's dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee, because they're following purely. So if we all have this following kind of mentality and this appreciation for the pure devotee, and put our heads, figuratively speaking and really, on the ground in the dust of the lotus feet, then we'll be right instead of what it says here. Read something. Okay, the person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a dead body. The person who has never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. So here we remember that this is what we were talking about Radharani, that the topmost person in the whole hierarchy to surrender to, we go to Radharani first. We say Hare Krishna. Hare means Radha, means Radhe. Hara is the feminine form of the holy name Hari, meaning one who removes obstacles. We pray to Mother Hara to remove obstacles and bring us to Krishna. And in the act of praying to her, we use the vocative, which is Hare. So we say Hare Krishna. So we pray to Radharani first, and then to Krishna. And this is our routine prayer. Every time we pray to Radharani first and then to Krishna. And this way we seek Krishna's mercy, by seeking Radharani's mercy first. So I think I'll stop here, and if there's any discussion or questions, comments.
I can think of a past thing, Prabhupada, connected to that. We had to do, sorry, I don't remember the devotee. He was a good book distributor, and he was going to get Brahmin initiation. He was with like the Ghosh and some other Sirdas, all these, well-known book distributors. And when he was going to get Brahmin initiation, all he could think was that, because they just learned that, the prayer that we sing every day, so he wanted to get the dust of the lotus feet of the devotee. But then, when he asked Srila Prabhupada, oh, can I touch your little feet? He replied, the Prabhupada said, that is not necessary. Yeah, a lot of devotees are like that. Sometimes they were thinking they were going to get some kind of electrical shock or something like that.
Yeah. There was that book, Siddhartha, by Herman Hesse, I think. It was real popular in those days before we come to the Krishna consciousness movement. Probably a lot of us read it. I read it, and then the end of the book, he's touched by the guru. The guru touches him, and then he receives all his self-realization. All the stuff he went through before that was just like preparation. Then he meets the right guru who touches him, and bing, he's got it. And yeah, people, their Krishna Maharaj calls it fairy dust. He says, it's not like you get fairy dust. So the devotees used to come to him, used to when I was there, and said, please give me your mercy, give me your mercy. Well, it's not like, what do you want me to do, sprinkle it on? So it's following the instructions, he would say. So that's how you get the dust of the lotus feet of the spiritual master. You hear, you inquire submissively, you hear, you follow the instructions, you render service humbly and attentively, and serve his mission, and that's how you really get the dust. That's figurative speaking. Because we act it out by putting our head in the floor. It's not like there's some magical thing about putting your head in the floor that all of a sudden, bing, you've got it, or all of a sudden you're pure. It's an external expression to help us move forward in our mental attitude of humility and surrender. So otherwise, it's not really necessary to do that. It doesn't do anything in itself, like there's something on the ground that makes your head brighter or something. It doesn't do anything in itself. It's a symbolic act to help us move forward in that direction. So the dust of the lotus feet comes from the hearing, the following, the serving, the development of humility. Yeah?
And also on the Tulsi leaves, it's about the lotus feet, goes back to the lotus feet again. Mm-hmm. The aroma from the Tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, this is just talking about the aroma of the Tulsi leaves, which the four Kumaras smelled when they went to the spiritual world, which is almost like an exception to the story, because they went by the power of their meditation, they went to the gate to Vaikuntha, and they could smell the aroma of the lotus feet. And I don't know, as mentioned, the closest thing they could have to a spiritual master is their father, Lord Brahma, but I don't know if he instructed them about devotional service. They were sort of impersonal meditators till they went there. So I don't know how that fits into this, but anyway, when you have the dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee, then you will be able to smell the aroma of the lotus of the Tulsi leaves on the lotus feet of the Lord, and which is in a way symbolic for us. But we also pray to Tulsi herself every very timely, relevant morning. I'm not here, but when at the evening I say the prayers to Tulsi when you take her off the altar. And you are praying to Tulsi to bring you to the spiritual world, so you can serve Radha and Krishna. So it's a prayer to the pure devotee, Srimati Tulsi Devi, to give mercy to us that we can go there. So we have some, and in that prayer we're rendering service, we're watering Tulsi like that. So again, we're seeking the mercy of the pure devotee first. Please make me one of your maidservants. Somebody, please make me your servant, so that we can serve Radha and Krishna. In the spiritual world, there's still a hierarchy. It's not like you get there and don't need a hierarchy anymore. When you go there, you're in some group under somebody who's under Radharani, or one of the cowherd boys or something. So it's always under somebody. So nobody's directly serving Krishna. There's always a hierarchy, and it's nice. It's a safe place. You don't have to be so fearful of Krishna and offenses and stuff. You can follow the directions of your leader. So it's nice. It's nice. In the material world, we may have trouble accepting it because sometimes leaders aren't so nice to us or something because we're all struggling, but that's the principle. That's the principle, and it's very nice ultimately. Hard Johnny?
I was just wondering what you thought about, I heard not so long ago that someone was saying there's a hierarchy of instructions from Prabhupada, and what was written in his books was for, all time, all people, all time. But then there were things like room conversations that were maybe a little more pointed or selective, and then letters still more like personal instruction, and that we should consider that when we read what he's written. And then I thought, oh, that makes sense. And then I thought, so I heard that was somebody was like challenging that it came from Prabhupada, that's that. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of both. When it's, I used to hear. At one point in my spiritual development, I was hearing how we shouldn't read so much the letters because they were specific to people. We should focus on the books. And now there's more and more, they publish all the letters that they can get, and there's more and more focus on the letters too. So, but you do have, it's kind of both. When you approach a letter, you have to understand that this was written to a person, individual, and you have to remember that it might or might not apply directly to you when you're reading it. So, but the books are for everybody. They're written to be for everybody. So, in the printed word is a captured spoken word. So, reading the books is hearing directly from Prabhupada. And he planned it that way. And then, but then also, we get more out of it when we take turns, we give class, so it goes through somebody speaking. That's not really a hierarchy, but in a way it's a temporary hierarchy because somebody's sitting here giving the class. So for a minute, it comes through somebody. And we take turns doing that. But, yeah, it's kind of both. I think when you read, some letters are real general instructions and some are real specific instructions, and you have to kind of proceed cautiously when reading a letter compared to when reading a book. Yeah, discretion. There are some letters where the basic knowledge is just explained a little more specifically because somebody was mixed up in a certain way, and that certainly applies for everybody. But then there's specific instructions. You should go preach. Doesn't mean everybody has to pack up and go preach, So, okay. Anybody else?
Okay.
Yeah.
My buddy Montejo, when Prabhupada came to Miami, touched his feet, and he told me decades later, he said, that was it for him. Once that happened. So it ain't always like, it's like, it could be really a powerful thing for some devotees.
And that was it for him, you mean?
That was it for him, he's a devotee.
Oh, he got the...
I mean, I see him, and he tells me, he never did tell me at the time, but he tells me now, he says, that was it for him. Once he touched Prabhupada's feet, he was done.
But you know why that worked for him? Because his heart was had to have already been there. Not like, oh, well, maybe I'll touch his feet and get something out of it. And bang, I'm a pure devotee. He must have had a ready heart already. Don't you think?
I think he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and I'm sure Prabhupada,
Yeah.
I didn't hear who you were talking about.
His friend, some friend of his.
from Miami.
What's his name?
Teja Prakash from Miami.
Can't ever hear it.
He's from, not Miami, well, he lives in Alaska now.
Okay. But he did touch Prabhupada's feet and received the powerful. Well, that must be sometimes there's an experience like that, and that's why the idea circulates that if you just get the touch, then. But it has to be that his heart was ready already by following instruction or something.
And it's desire and deserve too.
Yeah, desire, deserve, maybe less
That's
like.
Prabhupada gave him mercy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not an accident.
Yeah.
You get blessings.
It doesn't happen all alone. It happens in the context of somebody trying to follow.
Receive.
Yeah.
And I know some people, it wasn't that important thing to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, go figure.
Yeah. When some people saw Prabhupada and and saw a glow, and some people saw Prabhupada and didn't see a glow. And either one can become a pure devotee or, I guess, fall away, I guess.
Remain a ghost.
Sounds different. Huh?
You can remain a ghost.
Yeah, there was somebody early on when Prabhupada was in Pennsylvania or something. Wasn't there some story? Somebody just saw him and said, "That man's glowing." But I don't know if he became a devotee. Was that?
I heard that story, and I think it was in the airport in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I heard Dina Bandhu.
Hmm.
Shreshwar said when Prabhupada was coming up the escalator, he didn't stop, he just kept floating.
Yeah,
And he says there's a club called the Floaters Club
yeah.
that I saw Prabhupada do that. So I wish I was in that club, but I guess we all do.
My Guru Maharaj's mother, when she first saw Prabhupada, she went to Mayapur and was going to give him a piece of her mind because her son hadn't come home for so many years and years. And she saw him on the veranda of the Lotus building, and she said he was shining.
Hmm.
And then she said, she was trying to explain herself. And now I'm not a person that sees auras, but he was shining, and then her intention was fully to just give him a piece of her mind. And but Prabhupada was so gracious and welcoming and appreciating the service of his son that she told this story here that so he just took the wind out of her sails, and so she said, okay, I surrendered.
It's that Prabhupada and Krishna and pure devotee and the Lord Himself are all individual persons. It's their mercy, like the mercy of the devotee. If the devotee wants to give you mercy, then He may just give you mercy.
There's something when you talk about the mercy of the devotees. I'm reading in the 4th canto now. What little thing that came to my mind, that Prabhupada was making my understanding of the important point of that how when we're feeding the devotees, Lord Vishnu is more pleased, is actually more important than fire jumping. It's like an interesting.
Lord Vishnu is what?
Lord Vishnu or Krishna, He's pleased by that. It's like more important that He sees His devotees being fed,
Yeah.
He's feeding.
Yeah.
People are feeding it, then even a fire jacket that's been offered, by different demigods to the demigods, to Vishnu. Those are important.
Thank you. Well, now having heard these little exceptions to this talking about fairy dust, I've maybe been put in my place a little. But mostly if you just seek that, you're just seeking fairy dust. But it may surprise you by Krishna's free will, by Prabhupada's free will, that you get something like fairy dust when you weren't just looking at, I want fairy dust. I don't know. I don't know if I got chastised or not here by these different examples. So. Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. All the ways to Srila Prabhupada, all the ways to Srila